Welcome to HFY Galactic Stories, original science fiction tales, where humans face impossible odds, and the galaxy pays the price for its ignorance. Listen carefully. This is where legends are born. The Watcher in Shadows. The intergalactic trade summit station looked like a jewel in the dark space. It had shiny towers that reflected the light of 3 suns that were far away. This made pretty rainbow colors move around the see-through hallways. The intergalactic trade summit station had a room where people from 47 different species met. They were all under a roof that showed the colorful clouds of the nebula outside. The intergalactic trade summit station was really something to see. Ambassador Marcus Wright was sitting in the corner where the people from the group were. It looked like he was put there on purpose so he would not be noticed. He was 58 years old. His face was not special. People would meet him, then forget what he looked like right away. He was not good looking. He was not ugly. He was not young. He was not really old either. Ambassador Marcus Wright was wearing a suit that was very plain. His hair was gray at the sides. It was combed nicely, but it was not fancy. Everything about Ambassador Marcus Wright said that he was a person you would forget easily. This is what Marcus had in mind. He wanted things to turn out this way. That is exactly what happened with the plan that Marcus made. The galaxy's big players were around him. The Vorton Collective was there with their shiny armor that looked like it was made of bronze. They had a group, 300 of them, and they took up a whole section. Then there was the Kelthran Syndicate, these beings made of energy that had to wear suits to contain themselves. They were floating around in areas that were just for them. And in the middle of the hall you could not miss the Zirathi Empire. The Zirathi Empire was really something. The Zirathi Empire was taking up a lot of space. It was hard to look away from the Zirathi Empire. The Zirathi were the animals in the universe, and they could think and had really cool spaceships. They were really big, 3 meters tall. Their bodies were covered in scales that changed color depending on how they felt. Sometimes they were a purple and sometimes they were crimson. The Zirathi had 4 arms, and each arm ended in claws that could rip through most metals. They had 6 eyes, which were arranged in 2 rows. The Zirathi saw everything with these eyes. The Zirathi had been in charge of a part of the universe for 8,000 years. They were in charge because they were very good at fighting, and they made sure everything was done in an efficient way. The Zirathi were very good at using their might to get what they wanted. Empress Valera, the ruler of the Zirathi, sat on a throne at the summit. The Zirathi leader had been in charge for 200 years. Her scales changed color to a purple, which meant Empress Valera felt confident and in control. When Empress Valera spoke, her voice was loud and clear. Everyone in the hall could hear her without any help. The human request for expanded trade routes is really something. The hall fell silent. The humans have been coming to our galaxy for 73 years now. They still use old ships. In all this time, humanity has not given our galaxy anything that's really useful. The humans just show up with their vessels, and that is it. The woman was talking about the request for expanded trade routes, and she did not think it was a big deal. Humanity has been around our galaxy for 73 years. The human request for expanded trade routes is still a topic of discussion. Marcus did not move. He just sat there. Watch. His hands were folded neatly on the table in front of him. Marcus had an assistant, a woman named Dr. Sarah Kim. She started to get up because she did not like what was happening. Marcus put his hand on her arm. He told Dr. Sarah Kim to wait. Not. Valera went on. You could tell she was really having a good time. The thing is, they do not have anything that we cannot get from other places in a better way. Their technology is very old. They still use fusion reactors while we have been using methods for hundreds of years. Their army has 60 ships, and that is being very kind. Valera made a noise that sounded like she was laughing. The Zirathi merchant fleet has thousands of ships, just to compare. The delegations all nodded in agreement. The Vorton Collective made this clicking noise with their mandibles, which Marcus knew was their way of saying they liked something. Some of the species who really should have been more careful actually found humanity's situation funny. The Vorton Collective kept clicking their mandibles, showing they agreed with what was being said about humanity. Marcus pulled out a tablet and wrote something down. Dr. Kim leaned in close to him and whispered quietly, "Ambassador, we cannot just sit here. Watch and learn." Sarah, Marcus said quietly, his eyes never leaving the Empress. The thing that Marcus and the people with him can do well is watch and learn. That is what they do best. The meeting went on for 3 hours. People talked about trade agreements, tried to solve problems about territory. The human group did not say a word. They just sat there writing things down and did not ask anything. They did not complain about anything either. It seemed to people that the human group had given up. They seemed okay with being the weakest part of the galaxy. The human delegation just sat there taking notes, and the human delegation did not say anything. Marcus Wright did not give up. Marcus Wright was counting. I noticed the Zirathi military attaché checked his communicator 17 times, which made me think he was really worried about something going on back in Zirathi. I also saw some tensions between the Vorton Collective and the Kelthran Syndicate. This rift between the Vorton Collective and the Kelthran Syndicate has gotten a lot worse over the year. I counted the number of species that seem to resent the Zirathi and their dominance. There are 23 of them now, which is more than the 18 we saw at the summit, where the Zirathi dominance was also a big issue. The thing that really mattered was that he was keeping track of how times the Zirathi did the same thing wrong. He was watching the Zirathi. He wanted to know how many times the Zirathi made this mistake. The Zirathi was doing something over and again, and he was counting how many times the Zirathi did it. People looked at humanity. They saw that humanity is weak. Humanity has a lot of flaws. That is what they noticed about humanity. They thought humanity was not very strong. As the meeting was coming to an end, Empress Valera stood up from her seat. Before we finish, I think it is usual to let all the groups say something. Empress Valera looked at Marcus with her 6 eyes. It seemed like she felt sorry for him. Even the humans can talk if they want to, Empress Valera said, even if they are just going to waste the time of Empress Valera and the others. Marcus stood up slowly. He walked to the speaking platform that was in the center of the hall. The hall was really quiet. His footsteps were loud. Marcus is the same height as most humans, but he looked small next to the other species that were there. Marcus did not have any weapons with him. He was not wearing any armor. He did not seem like a threat to the species of the other beings that were present at the hall. The Marcus. The man just stood there for a moment looking at the delegation, then the European delegation and the Asian delegation one by one. The man spoke up after a while. His voice was low but easy to hear. He said, 73 years. Then he stopped for a moment. That is how long people from Earth have been a part of this group of planets. For 73 years humanity has been learning and trying to figure out how things are done in the universe. He pulled out his tablet. We have been to 417 meetings like this one. We made 892 deals to work together. The Galactic Union has helped with 12 arguments about borders, given food and shelter to 6 species that had bad things happen to them. We have done our part to help keep the galaxy safe. We have done all of this in the time that the Galactic Union has been working together. In all that time, he went on to say, the people of our land have been consistently underestimated. They have been ignored. He looked at Empress Valera. The people of our land have been called primitive and backwards and insignificant. The people of our land have been laughed at in halls just like this one where Empress Valera was sitting. The Empress scales changed a little to the color red, which means she is getting annoyed. What is the point of this feeling sorry for themselves? Marcus smiled. It was not a nice smile. The point, Your Majesty, is that when you were laughing, the people at Marcus were watching. When you were not taking Marcus seriously, Marcus was learning. When you were thinking about all your ships and how long you have been in charge, Marcus was getting ready for what Marcus was going to do. He tapped his tablet and the air above the hall was filled with lots of pictures. There were maps of the stars. The positions of the fleets were shown. They even had messages that they had intercepted. You could see the details of everything. The security cameras showed the Zirathi bases in a lot of detail. This was information that people outside of the military should not have been able to get. The holographic displays showed star maps and fleet positions and communication intercepts and technical specifications of the Zirathi installations. The hall just completely fell apart. People were running around like crazy. The hall was out of control. People in the hall were yelling at each other. The hall was a crazy place to be right then. For 70 years, Marcus said, his voice was loud and clear with all the noise around. Humanity has had the network of people gathering information in our part of space. We have people watching everything that happens on every trading station. We are listening in on every communication system. We know where every fleet is, what is going on at every base, and what secrets are stored in every private database. Humanity has all this information, Marcus said. The network of humanity is really good at gathering information. It has been doing this for 70 years. The man looked at the Vorton Collective. He said, we are aware that the Vorton Collective is dealing with a lot of problems getting the things you need and that you are talking to the Kelthran Syndicate in secret. Then he turned to the Kelthran Syndicate. He told the Kelthran Syndicate, we know that the Kelthran Syndicate is going to end your partnership. With the Zirathi in the 5 years the Kelthran Syndicate is planning to do this. Finally he looked at Empress Valera, whose scales had turned completely red. He said to Empress Valera, we are aware of the rebellion that is happening in the territories of Empress Valera. We are aware of the 3 attempts to kill Empress Valera that failed in the year. We know that the military of Empress Valera is spread thin, the economy of Empress Valera is struggling, and the control Empress Valera has over everything is not as strong as Empress Valera wants people to think. The Empress stood up tall, all of her 4 arms were stretched out to the sides. She was totally furious. "This is an act of war," she said. "You have the nerve to spy on the Zirathi Empire," the Empress said, her voice full of anger, talking about the Zirathi Empire again. Marcus said this calmly. "We wanted to survive. We looked at the galaxy. We saw groups that were built by fighting and being in charge. We saw species that thought they were good because they could make other species do what they wanted. Then we asked ourselves a question. What happens when these groups come for us?" Marcus said, "We asked this because we were thinking about the galaxy and what would happen to us. We were thinking about what would happen when they come for the people like us." He turned off the displays. "We did not build an empire. We did not take over any places. We just made sure that when the day came that someone thought humanity was worth taking, humanity would be ready to defend humanity. We would be ready to defend humanity when that day came." "Ready? Valera." It sounded really mean. "You have 60 ships. That is all you have. We have thousands of ships. What are you going to do with 60 ships against thousands of our ships?" Marcus said, "You have 2,847 warships." He was talking about the number as of that morning. The plan was to reduce the number of warships by 600. This reduction was going to be used for a demonstration against our trading posts in the Outer Rim. The goal of this demonstration was to teach humanity its place. Marcus tilted his head. Asked, "Am I wrong about the warships and the demonstration against our trading posts in the Outer Rim?" The silence that followed was really complete. There was no sound at all. The silence was absolute. It was so quiet that you could hear nothing. The absolute silence was pretty weird. Valera's scales changed between red and black, which is the color of being really angry. "You need to stop this spying network now, or Valera is going to do something about it?" What Marcus asked in a soft voice. "You will attack us. You will show the galaxy that the Zirathi Empire needs to use 600 of their own ships to defeat 60 human ships." He shook his head. "Please do it," he said. "I am begging you, Zirathi Empire, give the order to attack the ships." Dr. Kim grabbed the ambassador's arm. Her face was really pale. "Ambassador, what is happening to the ambassador?" Marcus did not listen to her. His eyes were fixed on the Empress. He said, "Tell them what to do, Your Majesty. Send the 600 ships of the Empress. Show the galaxy what happens when the Empress ignores people. When the Empress does not pay attention to the people who are watching from the dark. When the Empress thinks that being patient is being weak." Empress Valera looked at him for a long time. Her scales were changing colors fast. They were red, then purple, then black, and then purple again. The whole hall was still. Nobody was making a sound. She finally said something, and her voice was really rough. "You are playing a dangerous game, human," she said. "No, Your Majesty," Marcus said, picking up his things. "We stopped playing games a time ago, 73 years ago. We have been getting ready for war. The question is, are you ready for what happens with the war? We have been preparing for a long time, and the war is what comes next." He bowed a little, which is what you have to do to show respect, and then he turned to go. The people from the delegation followed him, and they did not say a word. Behind the humans they left a hall of different species, looking at the humans with new eyes. The humans were no longer seen as people who did not know much, or as newcomers who were not important. "I saw something that was there in front of me the whole time, but I did not notice it. The thing was hidden in sight, which means it was not really hidden at all. I just did not see the thing until now, and that is pretty surprising. The thing, this hidden thing, was there, along." 3 days later the Zirathi fleet set off towards the space that belongs to humans. Exactly as Marcus had known they would. When silence breaks. The Zirathi war fleet was really something that scared a lot of people. It had 600 warships lined up in a line, and each one was an amazing piece of work when it came to fighting. The Zirathi war fleet had warships with hulls that were covered in a kind of armor that could handle really high temperatures. Temperatures that could even melt whole planets. The Zirathi war fleet had warships with weapons that were so powerful they could break moons. The shields on the Zirathi war fleet warships were able to stop all kinds of attacks, including strikes and special beams made of antimatter. The Crimson Fong was in charge of this group of ships. It was Empress Valera's ship. She was on the bridge of the Crimson Fong. From there she saw that they were getting close to where the humans lived. She felt happy about this. The humans had made her look bad at the meeting. They had found out things that they should not have known. This was not okay. The whole galaxy needed to know that the Zirathi Empire does not let people disobey them. The Zirathi Empire had to show that it was still in control. Empress Valera was thinking about the Zirathi Empire. How it had to be respected. The lady said, "I want a status report." Her tactical officer, a person who has been in 30 battles, answered away. We are getting close to the edge of space, Your Majesty. The 3 places where people trade are close enough for us to attack. We do not see anyone defending these places. There are no ships around the trading posts. The trading posts are right in front of us, Your Majesty. Valera's scales looked really happy and purple. Those people are hiding like we thought they would be. Send them a warning message. Tell them they have 1 hour to get out of there, then we will destroy the stations. Let us be kind to them this time, Valera said. Valera wants to give them a chance, so we will wait 1 hour before we destroy the stations. Valera thinks it is the thing to do. As they were getting ready to communicate, something changed on the sensors. The communication was almost ready. Then the sensors started to show something different. This change on the sensors was a surprise. It happened just as they were about to send the communication. The sensors are very important. When they show something new, it can affect the communication. In this case, the change on the sensors made them stop and think about what to do with the communication. Your Majesty, the sensor officer said. His voice did not sound very sure. I am detecting something, but I do not know what the sensor is picking up. I am really not sure what it is that I am detecting with the sensor. Explain. There are things that do not look all over the system. The system has hundreds of these anomalies. The anomalies are not appearing as ships. The readings that show how things are being pulled by gravity say that they have a lot of mass. The mass of the anomalies is really significant. The system is showing that these anomalies have a lot of mass. Valera went to the sensor station. The screens in front of her showed what was around their ship. There were things on the screens that did not make sense. They were like blobs of distortion that should not be there. Valera looked at the screens. Said, what are we looking at with the sensor station readings? Unknown, Your Majesty. They could be sensor ghosts or perhaps some kind of... The space just tore open. One moment there was nothing in the void. The moment something strange happened to reality. It split open along lines that should not be there. Through these openings ships came. There were hundreds of these ships. The ships came out of what looked like space that was folded in on itself. They appeared all of a sudden at important points all around the system. These ships, they just showed up out of folded space. There were hundreds of them. They were unlike anything in the Zirathi databases. The Zirathi vessels were made to scare people. They had corners and points that looked dangerous. But these human ships were really different. They were smooth and had curves that looked like they were alive. The outside of the ships was a very dark black color. It was like it swallowed up the light instead of bouncing it back. The human ships were completely quiet. They did not send out any messages to say who they were. They did not have any lights on to show they were there. The Zirathi vessels and these human ships were very different from each other. The people just showed up. Stood there waiting. The people did not say anything. They simply waited. Count them, Valera. You could see that she was really upset because her scales were turning red. The tactical officer was really worried. He said 200, 400, 600. His voice got louder and louder. Your Majesty, I see over 900 spaceships. More are showing up. 1200, 1500. He looked at her. His scales were pale because he was so surprised. Your Majesty, there are then 2,000 human spaceships in this system. The human vessels are everywhere. I mean the vessels, they just keep coming. That is impossible, Valera said slowly. Intelligence said that the other side had 60 ships in total. Valera just could not believe that intelligence was wrong about the number of ships. They said 60 ships, Valera repeated, still trying to understand what was going on with the ships. A new voice came over the communication channels. Said intelligence was only shown what we wanted them to see. The main view screen turned on. It showed a man in a military uniform. This man was really old, maybe 70 years old. He had hair and his eyes were a gray color like the color of steel. The uniform he was wearing had symbols on it that did not match any group that people know about. The military uniform was pretty interesting because it had these symbols that nobody could recognize, and that made people wonder what kind of group this man was from. The military uniform was a big part of the mystery. I am Admiral Thomas Crane, the person in charge of Earth's strategic defense fleet, he said. His voice was really calm. It sounded like he was just talking to someone he knew. Empress Valera, you have come into the space that humans control with the intention of being hostile. This is considered an act of war according to the laws of humans and the laws of the galaxy. Valera found her voice. You really think you can threaten the Zirathi Empire? That is crazy. The Zirathi Empire has 600 of the warships that exist in our part of space. The Zirathi Empire is not someone to mess with. The Zirathi Empire will not be threatened by you. Crane said, you have 600 warships that were built using the technology that the galaxy has shared over the 8,000 years. You thought they were really something. Crane wanted to make a point. He said, the rest of the galaxy was sharing technology and trading ideas with each other. At the time, humanity was working on something different. The humans were developing warships and other things. They were also doing something new and unique. Crane talked about humanity. What they did. He said, humanity was doing something that the rest of the galaxy was not doing. One of the ships moved forward. It glided through space with a smooth motion. This ship was a lot smaller than the Crimson Fong. About a third of the size. For some reason it made Valera feel like something was not right. Her instincts were telling her to be careful. The black ship just seemed to make her feel like she was in danger. Valera's combat instincts were screaming at her to watch out for the ship. Crane said that the Harbinger is our ship. The Harbinger is an old ship that we still use. The Harbinger has been working for 40 years now. The Harbinger has never been in a fight. The Harbinger has never had to fight. Crane smiled a bit. Crane asked if we want to see what the Harbinger can do. Valera said to me in a voice, "This is your last chance, human." She was really angry. Back off. The Harbinger fired. The ship was just sitting there. It was not moving all. Then suddenly a beam of blue light shot out and connected the ship to a Zirathi battlecruiser that was on the outer edge of the fleet. There was no warning, no sign that anything was going to happen. The ship was stationary one moment. The next it was connected to the Zirathi battlecruiser by this beam of pale blue light. The Zirathi battlecruiser was a part of the fleet and now the ship was linked to it in a really surprising way. The battlecruiser's shields, which are layers of energy that can handle being bombed by a lot of ships at the time, just disappeared. The beam went through the battlecruiser's hull and the rooms inside and the reactor core and came out the other side of the battlecruiser. The battlecruiser did not blow up. It just stopped working. All the power on the battlecruiser stopped working. The battlecruiser started to float in space like a big dead ship. The whole thing was over in 4 seconds. That is how long the entire engagement actually lasted. Crane said that was a test shot. It was not very strong. Did not go very far. If we were really attacking, your ship would have been completely destroyed. He leaned forward a bit. Now I think we still have 699 targets to go. Should we keep going with the targets, the 699 targets we have left? Valera's mind was going fast. This could not be happening. No weapon could get through Zirathi shields like that. The numbers just did not add up. Unless something was very wrong with the Zirathi shields or the weapon was something new. Valera thought about the Zirathi shields and how they were supposed to be impenetrable. The Zirathi shields were the best, people. No weapon could get through them. This one did, and that was what bothered Valera about the Zirathi shields. The woman looked at the weapons. Said, "Your weapons, they are not like the usual energy weapons that people use?" "Very good," Crane said. "No, they are not. You see, the galaxy was really good at making energy shields. We did something different. We made displacement beams. These beams do not actually break through your energy shields. They just ignore them. They work in a layer so your defenses cannot stop them. Quantum displacement beams are really good at getting around your shields because they operate in a dimension." He waved his hand and more of the ships went to their places surrounding the Zirathi fleet. The human ships have good weapons. That is not all. The human ships also have a way of moving that makes the Zirathi fusion torches seem old. The human ships use something called a drive system. This system is much better than the chemical rockets. The human ships are also made with materials called metamaterials. These materials can fix themselves when they get damaged. They can even change to make the ships safer. The human ships have computer systems that can think and react quickly. These computer systems are called AI systems. They can look at information, make decisions 10,000 times faster than any human can. The human ships and their AI systems are very good at fighting. We took a long time to get ready for this moment, Crane went on. We built a lot of spaceships in places all around our solar system and even farther away. We worked on technology all by ourselves without looking at what other people in the galaxy were doing. We did this for 70 years because we knew that someday someone would come looking for us, the humans, the people on our spaceships, the ones who built all these things in secret, the humans who were preparing for the day when someone would come for the humans. Valera looked at her fleet. It was surrounded by human vessels. She thought about all the things that could happen. Every time she thought about what to do, it ended the way. Valera thought about this a lot. The human vessels were just too strong. Annihilation of her fleet was what she always saw happening. Valera did not like thinking about her fleet being destroyed. She looked at her fleet again. All she could think about was annihilation. She asked the person what they wanted after a time. The woman finally said, "What do you want?" "What do I really want?" Crane thought about this for a moment. "I want you to go home, Empress. I want you to tell the galaxy what really happened here. I want all the species that made fun of humanity, all the empires that thought we were weak and easy to pick on to know something that's very important. I want them to understand that the humans are not to be underestimated, that we will fight back, and that is what I want the galaxy to know, that is what I want the empires to remember, and that is what I want to happen. I want every single species to know what happened to humanity and what humanity did in return. I want the galaxy to see the truth, and that truth is what I want to be told by you, Empress, and that is what I want. His face became really serious. We did not travel to this galaxy to fight. We came here because we wanted to be friends and work together. We wanted to find our place in the universe. We were also ready for things to go badly. If you make us decide between being treated nicely and being scary, we will pick the one that keeps the people of our galaxy safe. We will do what it takes to protect our people. The man said, all ships, and the whole human fleet started moving. All the ships got ready to fire their weapons at the time. Then they said, target lock. Firing solution ready. We are waiting for your command, to the man. The human fleet was waiting for the man to tell them what to do with the ships. 2,000 ships against 600. Advanced technology against conventional weapons. Complete tactical superiority. Valera knew when Valera was beaten. She just gave up because Valera did not know what to do. Valera was tired of trying. Valera felt like Valera had been fighting for a time. Stand down, she told her fleet. I want all of my ships to stand down now. The Zirathi vessels stopped using their weapons, and the Zirathi vessels' shields were not working well as before. The human ships were still ready to shoot the Zirathi vessels. The human ships did not fire at the Zirathi vessels. Crane said, that is a choice. Now I want to make one thing very clear about what's happening now. Humanity does not say that any land beyond what we have is ours. We do not want to be in charge of everything, we do not want to take over places, and we do not want to be boss of everyone else. These three places where we trade, these worlds where people from humanity live, and the space that humanity has taken. These things are ours. The new reality is that humanity is in charge of these things, and humanity will keep them safe. He stopped talking for a moment so that everyone could think about what he said. If someone tries to hurt our people or attacks the places we live or thinks they can just push us around, they will be in trouble. And when they get in trouble, it will happen fast, it will be very serious. It will be over for them. Our people will always be. Anyone who attacks our worlds will face the consequences, and those consequences will be swift, absolute, and final for them. Do you understand that, Empress? Valera's scales were now a purple color. This color means that someone is giving in or agreeing to something. It is a color that Valera had not had on her scales in 200 years. Valera's scales turning this purple color was a big deal because it meant that Valera was showing that she was willing to accept something. The color of Valera's scales was very important to Valera. The Admiral is right, I totally get it, Admiral. Then go home, Crane said. Tell them what you learned today. Tell them that the quiet humans, the humans I am talking about, were watching everything all along. Tell them that the quiet humans and I spent 70 years getting ready for war, but we were also praying for peace the time. Tell them that being silent does not mean you are weak. Sometimes it means you are just being patient. Sometimes it means you are thinking about what to do, it means you are thinking about your strategy. The quiet humans and I were thinking about our strategy. The man's image leaned forward one time. Sometimes Empress, silence is just the quiet time before the storm comes. The view screen just went completely dark. The Zirathi fleet started to pull slowly and carefully. This was a deal because the Zirathi fleet had 600 warships. These warships were the best of the Zirathi Empire, which had been in charge for a long time. 8,000 years. Now the Zirathi fleet was retreating from the vessels. There were 2,000 vessels, and the thing is, they should not have even been there. The Zirathi fleet was supposed to be the strongest. Now it was moving away from the humans. The Zirathi fleet was leaving because of the 2,000 vessels. On Earth, down in a place under the Pacific Ocean, Marcus Wright saw the ships moving away on his screen. Dr. Kim was standing next to him and her face still looked really surprised. The woman said, they are leaving. She said, it is over. The people are going away. That is the end of it. The woman was speaking quietly when she said that they are leaving and it is over. No, Marcus said in a voice. This is the start. Now they are aware that we were getting ready. Now they know that we were not weak, we were just being careful. Now they know that humanity has been paying attention, learning things and building things without them noticing. He pulled up a map of the stars that shows the galaxy. It had 47 groups of people marked on it in different colors. Now all of these groups will be thinking about what we have not told them. They will wonder what things we are keeping secret. They will think about what things we can do that we have not shown them yet. Dr. Kim said, what are we going to say to them? Marcus smiled. This smile was the one he had at the summit. It was not a smile and it was not a cold smile. The smile of Marcus was a knowing smile. Marcus had a smile that said he knew something. He said that we will tell them nothing. We will go back to sitting in our corners when we are at summits. The European Union and other countries will overlook the United States. They will underestimate the United States. They will ignore the United States. The United States will go back to watching the European Union and other countries. The United States will learn from the European Union and other countries. The United States will prepare for the European Union and other countries. We do this kind of thing well. That is what we are good at. That is what we do best. The view screen showed the last Zirathi ship disappear into hyperspace. It was carrying a message that would be heard over the galaxy. This message was about the ones. The Zirathi were the watchers in the shadows. They were a species that everyone ignored. The truth is that the Zirathi had been hiding something big. They had been hiding the storm along. The Zirathi were not what they seemed to be. And nothing in the galaxy would ever be quite the same again.